All right, good afternoon. Let's just go ahead and get standing. Let's get started standing. There you go. So let's just do some shoulder rolls. Okay, so bring those shoulders up by the ears and then slide them down and back and roll them forward. Pull up and then slide them down and back. So a couple more times, going backwards. And then we'll bring it forward. Then we'll get those arms involved. So start a little bit smaller, and then we'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, as big as you can get with those circles. And now we'll stop. Bring the arms out, small circles forward. Let's go bigger and bigger and bigger. Good. Now reach those arms out to a T. Like bring that the right arm across, the left arm hooks and grabs it, holding that left shoulder down or tight. Squeeze that arm in a little bit tighter. And then we'll release it, go to the other side. That left arm comes across, right hand or right arm hooks, holding that left shoulder down. And then bring those arms up, bending into that right elbow. Left hand reaches for it. Press that head back. Pull that rib cage down. So we'll feel that stretch through that back of that right arm. And then find that side stretch over to that left side. Inhale, bring it back up. We'll switch sides, bending into that left arm. Press the head back. And then we'll side stretch it over. And bring it back up. Let's interlace those fingers behind the back. We'll pull those knuckles down first. Hands will come away from those hips. And then let's release those arms up. And then with that really flat back, we're going to start to fold it forward. We can maybe bring the hands to the knees, shins all the way down to the ground, but we want to keep the back as flat as possible, at least to start. I think slight bend into those knees, lifting up through that tailbone, be sliding the hands down a little bit lower, a little lower, a little lower. Good. Now relax as we fold all the way forward. Just let that head hang. Maybe shake that head yes, shake that head no. And now we'll plant those hands. Let's step it back to a plank. Let's get moving a little bit here. So we're going to do some push-ups. If you launch those knees, you can shift that weight forward, shoulders over those fingertips, lower down. So we want the belly lifted, shoulders in line with those elbows. Press it back up. Lower and up, lower, back up. Let's do two more. We're going to do 5 of them. Lower, press it back up. Last one down, press it up, and then go right back into that child's pose. Extending those arms out. Doesn't have to be super active through those arms. We do want to give them a little bit of a break. And then we're relaxing that chest down towards the mat. Big stretch through that upper back. Lift up slightly. Let's walk those hands over to that right side. Big reach through that left arm. And then we'll go to center. Walk the hands over to that left side, big reach through that right arm. And bring it back to center. Let's come up onto hands and knees. Let's step it back to a plank. We're doing mountain climbers, but nice and slow. So we're going to bring that right knee to the chest, extend it out. The left knee comes in, extend it back out. So here we go. Right knee 10, switch 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend out. Pause it here. And then we can lift those hips up, stretching out through the backs, those legs into those calves. Nice flat spine. So swoop that tailbone up, press those heels down. And let's go ahead and step those feet back up to those hands. Find that flat back so fingertips can stay on the ground, or maybe those hands go up a little bit higher to those shins, just depending on how tight those legs are feeling. Slide down a little further, and then fold. And then inhale, we'll rise back up, reaching those arms overhead. We're gonna bend into that left elbow, press that head back, core tight, and then side stretch over to the right. Inhale, bring it up, other side, and side bend. Bring it back up. Let's interlace those fingers. Open up through that chest. And then reach those arms up with that flat back. Reach those arms out. Shift the weight into the heels a little bit more, but keep gripping those big toes down. Lower the hands down. Lengthen out through that spine. And then those hands will plant down, stepping those feet back to our plank. We have 5 push-ups. So on the knees or on the toes, shift the weight forward, lower, press up, down, back up, down, up, last 2, down, up, last 1, down, back up, and send it right back to that child's pose. Adding in those side stretches, so walking the hands over to that right side. And then we'll come over to that left side. Bring it back to center. Let's come up to that plank position, stepping those feet back. And then again, 10 of them. Right knee in, back out. So that's 10. Left knee 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plank. And send those hips up into that hamstring and calf stretch, that down dog. And we'll step the right foot forward, back knee lowers down. We'll twist, reaching that right arm up. So you can walk that foot out so it's a little bit wider. Those toes are almost towards the outside edge of that mat. And lower the hands down. From here, little push-ups. So maybe the hands come back a little bit more so we can bring the shoulders over the elbow or shoulders over the fingertips. Press back up, bend and up. Bend the elbows down, and then this time maybe you lower those forearms down to the mat. Maybe letting that right knee open up a little bit more. And then we'll come back to those hands. And step it back to that down dog. Other side, we'll step that left foot outside, that left hand, back knee lowers down. Big twist, reaching that left arm up. And lower that hand down. Push up, back up, push up, back up. Last time, push up, we'll hold it down, and then maybe lowering those forearms down to that mat. And elbows are pulling back, chest pulls forward, lengthen out through that spine. Again, that knee can open up a little bit wider. And then come back to those hands. Step it on back to that down dog. Now let's go into that squat. So we'll step those feet behind the hands, toes will turn out so they're about at the edges of the mat. Sink the hips down, chest to the lift, hands will come to our heart center. Hold it here and breathe. Knees are pressing out. Chest is lifted. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. Straighten those legs as we fold. Just let the head hang nice and heavy. Now go ahead and step it back. We'll move through a vinyasa. So you're going to shift weight forward, lower down. Inhale, lifting that chest up, maybe just a little bit, or maybe you straighten those arms out. You can give it a little sway from side to side. If we do have our arms straight, make sure we're not letting those shoulders sag down by those ears. We want really pulling those shoulders down, lifting through that head. And then exhaling, again, those hips back to the heels. Bring those knees out nice and wide. Press those hips back. Rest that head down. And then we'll come back to those hands and knees. Step it back to our down dog. And let's do pigeon. So right knee, right wrist, foot comes across. Slide that left leg back. And then lower onto those forearms. Resting that head down onto our hands. Just a few breaths here. So right shin pulls back, left knee pulls forward. Okay, come back onto those hands. Step it back, down dog. And let's bring that left knee to that left wrist. Foot comes across. Right leg will slide back. And then lower onto those forearms. Resting that head down, staying active through the legs. So left knee back, right knee forward. Good, then come back to those hands. Let's step it back to that down dog again. Get that blood flow back to those legs. Really press that tailbone up, press those heels down. And then we'll lower those knees down, spin around onto your backs. We'll hug that right knee into the chest, left leg extends out long. And then twist. So we'll bring that left leg across the body, right arm reaches out. And then we'll bring it back to center. Switching sides, hug that left knee in, right leg extends out. And twist. And then bring that knee back to center. Okay, we'll plant both feet down, going into a hip bridge. Just a little more extension through the quads and the hamstrings. Okay, also firing those glutes a little bit more. So press to the feet, roll that tailbone up, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Really press and lift through the hips, not through your belly or through your low back. And then roll it on down. And we'll just drop those knees from side to side. One more each side. And then bring those knees in, roll on up to that seat. Let's just sit, breathe for a few minutes. Sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders roll down and back, lifting up tall through the top of the head. Good, just a few more breaths. Just focused on that breath, quieting the mind. Good, and we'll blink those eyes open. All right, thank you all for joining me. Have a great weekend. We do have yoga tomorrow at 9:30. Just an all levels class. So hopefully you can make that. But otherwise, have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.